Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad was first published in 1997 and quickly became a must-read for people interested in investing, money, and the global economy. The book has been translated into dozens of languages, sold around the world, and has become the #1 personal finance book of all time. The overarching theme of Rich Dad, Poor Dad is how to use money as a tool for wealth development. It destroys the myth that the rich are born rich, explains why your personal residence may not really be an asset, describes the real difference between an asset and a liability, and much more. In this video, we will cover the following chapters. Chapter 1, The Rich Don't Work for Money. Chapter 2, Why Teach Financial Literacy. Chapter 3, Mind Your Own Business. Chapter 4, The History of Taxes and the Power of Corporations. Chapter 5, The Rich Invent Money. Chapter 6, Work to Learn, Don't Work for Money. Chapter 7, Overcoming Obstacles. Chapter 8, Getting Started. Introduction. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, had two main influential fathers in his life. Poor Dad was Kiyosaki's biological father, a man who was highly intelligent and very well educated. Poor Dad believed in studying hard and getting good grades, then finding a well-paying job. Yet, despite these seemingly positive attributes, Poor Dad didn't do well financially. Rich Dad was the father of Kiyosaki's best friend. He had a similar work ethic to Kiyosaki's real dad, but with a twist. Rich Dad believed in financial education, learning how money works, and understanding how to make money work for you. Although he was an 8th grade dropout, Rich Dad eventually became a millionaire by putting the power of money to work for him. The book is written from Kiyosaki's perspective of how Rich Dad went about making money and the mistakes that Poor Dad made. The first 6 chapters of Rich Dad, Poor Dad make up about 2/3 of the book and discuss the 6 lessons that Kiyosaki learned from his rich dad. Chapter 1. The Rich Don't Work for Money. Oftentimes, people misunderstand the title of this chapter and mistakenly believe that it means the rich don't work. In fact, the complete opposite is true. The truth is that the majority of rich people do work very hard, but they go about it differently than most people do. Rich people, and people who want to become rich, work and learn every day how to put money to work for them. As Rich Dad says, the poor and middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them. Kiyosaki also notes that having a regular job is just a short-term solution to the long-term problem, or challenge, of creating wealth and financial freedom. It's fear that keeps most people working at a job. The fear of not paying their bills, the fear of being fired, the fear of not having enough money, and the fear of starting over. That's the price of studying to learn a profession or trade and then working for money. Most people become a slave to money and then get angry at their boss. Chapter 2. Why Teach Financial Literacy. The second chapter of Rich Dad, Poor Dad explains the difference between an asset and a liability. An asset is something that has value, that produces income or grows in value, and has a market where the asset can easily be bought and sold. On the contrary, liabilities take money out of your pocket because of the costs associated with them. When Rich Dad, Poor Dad was first published back in 1997, Kiyosaki created a lot of controversy with this statement. Most people think their residential home is an asset, but this is not true. When you are paying monthly payments towards your mortgage and bills, this is taking money away from your pocket. However, a rental property which gives you a monthly income is an asset. Chapter 3. Mind Your Own Business. There are 2 key messages in this chapter. First, pay off your debts and start investing in income-producing assets as soon as possible. Next, stay financially healthy by spending your time instead of your paycheck and investing as much of your money as possible in assets. Most people spend their entire lives working in somebody else's business and making other people rich. Quote from Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The primary reason the majority of the poor and middle class are fiscally conservative is that they have no financial foundation. They have to cling to their jobs and play it safe. They can't afford to take risks. Chapter 4. The History of Taxes and the Power of Corporations. When reading this chapter, it's important to keep in mind that Kiyosaki wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad as a motivational book, not to provide expert financial or tax advice. The points made in this chapter discuss how to play the investment game smart. The rich understand the power of company structures and the tax code and use every legal means they can to minimize their tax burden. Compare how business owners and investors with corporations such as C Corps, S Corps, or LLCs pay taxes to how most people pay tax. Business owners with a corporate structure earn, spend, pay taxes. Employees who work for corporations earn, pay taxes, spend. Notice that employees who work for somebody else spend their money post-tax, while business owners earn and spend before paying tax. For instance, a corporation can pay expenses before paying taxes, whereas an employee gets taxed first and must try to pay expenses on what is left. Corporations also offer legal protection from lawsuits. When someone sues a wealthy individual, they are often met with layers of legal protection and often find that the wealthy person actually owns nothing in their own name. They control everything, but personally own nothing. Chapter 5. The Rich Invent Money. Investment packages are bought by people who entrust their money to a developer or fund manager. This is the way that most people invest, such as buying shares of an ETF or putting money into a real estate crowdfunding venture. Professional investors look after their own investments, research the market to find deals that make sense, then hire professionals to manage the daily oversight. Professional investors have 3 things in common. 1. Identify opportunities that other people have not found. 2. Raise funds for investment. 3. Work with other intelligent people. Quote, "Some people argue that there aren't real estate bargains where they are, but there are prime opportunities everywhere that are overlooked. Most people aren't trained financially to recognize the opportunities in front of them." Chapter 6. Work to learn, don't work for money. Poor Dad was intelligent and well-educated and worked for money because job security meant everything to him. Rich Dad became a millionaire by working to learn. As Kiyosaki writes, "I recommend to young people to seek work for what they will learn more than what they will earn. Look down the road at what skills they want to acquire before choosing a specific profession and before getting trapped in the rat race." In fact, that's exactly what Kiyosaki did. He joined the Marines after graduating from college and learned the essential business skills of leading and managing people. After serving his country, Kiyosaki joined Xerox, overcame his fear of rejection to become one of the top 5 salespeople in the company, then left the corporate world to form his own business. Chapter 7. Overcoming Obstacles. Chapter 7 of Rich Dad, Poor Dad begins by noting that the primary difference between a rich person and a poor person is how they manage fear. In the book, fear is about the fear of losing money and how to handle that fear. It's one of the 5 biggest obstacles people face on the path to becoming financially independent. Fear. Losing money is a fact of investing life, and so is the fear that comes along with it. Kiyosaki notes that he's never met a rich person who has never lost money, but he's met plenty of poor people who have never lost a dime because they've never invested. Real estate investors who choose to act only on a sure thing are paralyzed by fear in disguise. People who can't see the big picture and think big are the ones who almost never, ever exceed in investing or in life. Cynicism. Everybody has doubts that affect self-confidence, and it's easy to fall into the trap of playing what if, especially when friends and family are constantly reminding you of your potential shortcomings. Things like the economy crashing, interest rates rising, and tenants not paying their rent are common what-if fears that all real estate investors have. While these are important items to consider, it's important not to allow the cynicism of others to overtake your control. Otherwise, you may become immobilized as opportunities pass you by. Laziness. In today's interconnected world, it's easy to confuse being busy with actually accomplishing things that matter. In fact, according to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, busy people are often the most lazy. Busy people arrive at the office early and leave late. They bring work home to finish at night and on the weekends. Before they know it, the people and things that matter most to them have disappeared. Instead of giving in to the call of the rat race and mistaking action for accomplishment, successful real estate investors are proactive and take care of themselves and their wealth first. Bad habits. Habits control behavior. For example, most people pay their bills first before they pay themselves. The result is that there's usually very little left over at the end of the month for investing. Paying yourself first, even if you don't have enough money to pay other people, makes you financially stronger, mentally and fiscally. In a way, it's a form of reverse psychology. When you develop the habit of paying yourself first, you become motivated by the fear of not being able to pay creditors. In turn, you begin looking for other forms of income, like investment real estate. Arrogance. Investors know what makes them money, but it's the things they don't know that makes them lose money. When people become truly arrogant, they honestly believe that what they don't know doesn't matter. Train yourself to listen to what other people have to say, especially when it comes to money and investing. If you discover you're ignorant about a subject, educate yourself or find an expert in the field. Overcoming these 5 biggest obstacles on the path to real estate success requires a blend of balance and focus. There are plenty of Chicken Littles in the world today, people with the victimhood mentality who live their lives in cynicism and pessimism. Rich Dad Poor Dad suggests filtering negative people and their fears out of your life. Instead, concentrate on the big picture and always ask, what's in it for me? Chapter 8. Getting Started. Part of this lack of vision and clarity comes from the world we live in. We're trained from a very young age to work hard for someone else, spend the money that we earn, and borrow more if we run short. Unfortunately, people who choose to become one of the masses never take the time to develop their financial genius. Investing in real estate is the perfect example. The average person can spend a week out in the field and find nothing, while the investor who has trained himself can easily find 4 or 5 deals that make sense in a single day. Here are the 10 steps to follow to develop your financial genius and discover the gold that's already out there just waiting to be found. 1. Have a deep emotional reason or purpose for doing what you do, a combination of wants and don't wants. 2. Understand the power of choice and choose daily what to do, including choosing the right habits and educating yourself. 3. Choose your friends carefully by leveraging the power of association, being careful not to listen to poor or frightened people. 4. Master the power of learning quickly and develop a formula for making money. 5. Pay yourself first by mastering the power of self-discipline to manage your cash flow, people, and personal time. 6. Select great people for your team and compensate them generously for their advice, because the more money they make, the more money you will make. 7. Ask, how fast do I get my money back, by focusing on return of investment first, followed by return on investment. 8. Use money generated by assets you own to buy luxuries by focusing on self-discipline to direct money to create more. 9. Have a role model to follow and tap into the power of their genius to put to your use. 10. Realize that if you want something, you need to give something first. Conclusion. If you had to choose one key takeaway from Rich Dad Poor Dad, it might very well be that rich people are not always born rich. The reality today is that you don't have to go to work for somebody else and join the rat race to make money. Even though Kiyosaki first published Rich Dad Poor Dad nearly 25 years ago, the lessons he wrote about back then can still be put into practice today. Begin with your financial education, then create your own personal objectives to begin your path to long-term wealth and financial freedom. Thanks for watching. Please like, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel for future videos on becoming a successful individual and becoming financially free.